Hi everyone, we're back with Angel Henderson, State Farm Insurance Agency owner, and we're just going to get to know a little bit about business insurance and how that goes. But first, I'd like to know a little bit about you and what got you into this business.
Absolutely. So I'm a native Texan. Grew up in Hitchcock, Texas, really close to Galveston. So we are experts at hurricanes down in Hitchcock, Texas. So I really wanted to do something in my next part of my career to help people. So I really want to do something in the next part of my career to help people. So I thought insurance was a great way to be able to do that.
That's awesome. What types of insurance do you have available for small business?
Well, any type they need. So most small businesses are experts at what they do. They're not experts on what they need to protect their businesses. So that's what insurance is. It's protection. It's protection so you could do business continuation. It's protection for your employees. It's protection for your customers. So I guess the big part is general liability is what people mostly think of when they think of business insurance. Just in case someone slips and falls in my store, just in case someone sues me, that is what that covers, general liability. But there's so much more.
So I was going to say, what types of insurance should we consider as small business owners?
Absolutely. So of course, business, you want to protect your liability for, that's lawsuit protection. Okay, that's number one. We want to protect your employees in the form of workers' comp. We want to protect your equipment in your office or your business to make sure if it's damaged through a storm, vandalism, theft, anything like that, that we can make sure those things are returned back to you and make you whole to be able to continue to do your business. So those are the three main things that we think about with businesses. Also, if you use your car in any way, you need commercial insurance for your car. If your employees use their car, you need to make sure their car is insured while they're doing business for you.
Would that hold true even as an independent contractor? Would you?
Absolutely, absolutely, because they're going to hold you responsible because you're the business owner. So whether you rent your building, whether you work from home, whether you don't have any employees, business insurance is very important.
What are like the policy's limits?
That's a great question. So it depends on what exactly you need. So the limits means what the limits mean is what the max the insurance company is going to pay out in the case you have a claim. So I've seen limits up to $10 million, depending on the type of business you have. So we can have limits as small as $100,000 or as large as $20 million.
Wow. That's a broad range.
It's a very broad range.
So what type of businesses generally, do you think that might not even think about coming to you that need to come to you?
You name it. Anyone from a service industry such as hairstylist or massage therapist or a realtor or anyone that you may own a restaurant, you name it. Those folks need the proper coverage. And you may not know what is the proper coverage. That's what I'm here for, to help you discern what you need and what you don't need.
How and when do you submit the claim? Immediately when something happens, or if you do it, how long could you wait? If you wait, what's too long to wait? All those kind of things.
That's a great question. So some people think that they have 24 hours to submit their claim or it's all lost. That is not true. Most times you have up to 2 years to submit your claim. We don't want to wait that long because if there's an investigation involved, like anything, those documents or those things may be lost. But you can have up to 2 years to submit your claim. So the best thing to do is to talk to your agent about the claim, and you guys talk it out to see if it's a claim that surpasses your deductible. Is it something that you should pay out of pocket, or that you should definitely submit a claim for?
Okay, and I know we talked about when they're doing construction on buildings and things like that. what type of insurance and stuff. And I know you mentioned before something like they better call you before they start all that construction stuff.
Absolutely.
So that you know what exactly.
That's a great question. So let's say you're building a building. You're the owner. You're building a building. Before you even start that, you need to make sure you have the proper coverage. So general liability you have to have that. Workers' comp. Most likely you'll probably need that. You will need flood insurance. We live in Houston, Texas. Everywhere in Houston, Texas is a flood zone. So you definitely want to consider that because most other policies do not, flood is always excluded. So people don't think about, well, hey, my contractor has all the appropriate insurance. What do I need it for? Well, if your contractor's not working and just a person just happens to walk by and hurt themselves on that site, that's your responsibility. So you definitely want to have a conversation with your agent before you do anything.
And that's a really good point. You're not just, the people that have their own insurance, they're covered, but you're responsible for that building. So someone just walks by on the sidewalk and slips in front of your building and you don't have that coverage, you might lose your building, just over something as simple as that. And I think also, the flood insurance was really important because it doesn't matter if it's your home, your business, wherever. I mean, I worked in a building before that was we were on the 3rd floor, but we were very close to the bayou. The 3rd floor of this building flooded. So, the entire building from the ground up to the 3rd floor flooded. So you just never know when things are going to happen. So I always tell my clients on the residential side that be sure to have flood insurance, even if you're not quote unquote in a flood zone, because all of Houston is a flood zone. But definitely be sure to get flood insurance.
Absolutely.
Because you never know what's going to happen. And if you're not in a flood zone, your insurance premiums are
very reasonable.
Low.
Very reasonable. So
Yeah.
everyone in Houston has a flood risk, but there's high risk and low risk. So if you're a low risk flood, you're looking at getting around $350,000 worth of coverage or up to $500,000 worth of coverage for under $600 a year. So, and if you are in a higher risk, it'll be a little bit more than that, of course, but it's better to have it than to not.
Can I get more coverage if I want more coverage?
That's a great question. There is a max on flood insurance but for businesses is higher than residential. Residential's max for the dwelling is $250,000. For businesses, it's $500,000.
Oh, wow. So, what are some payment options and things for coverage?
That's a great question as well. So a lot of insurance companies make commercial businesses pay up front. If you don't pay up front the full premium, you have to finance it and pay interest on those premiums, which no one wants to do that. You're a small business. So I would definitely look for a company who allow you to make monthly payments if that's your preference without any fees associated with that.
Okay, that goes any way. Can you pay by credit card, pay by check?
Pay by credit card or check. The only person that will not allow you to pay in payments is flood, of course. But that is a government-run entity, and all flood insurance is done through FEMA, and you have to pay in full at the time of coverage.
So what's maybe just some other kind of information about commercial insurance that people don't know?
Sure, I would. Employee liability. We've talked a lot about general liability, about other people hurting themselves on your property or other people hurting themselves on your business, but your employees could also sue you for discrimination, harassment, all of those things, and that is not typically covered under your basic business policy. So that's a separate policy that protects you from your employees suing you.
Wow. Do you have any crazy stories that have happened to you? Like maybe give me a couple of stories of something really random that's happened that...
Oh my goodness. I guess probably the biggest one is a $1 million claim for a commercial auto policy that someone in a commercial truck hit someone and injured them very badly, and it ended up being $1 million of claim. So when they say, well, you need $1 million of coverage for your commercial. Well, who needs $1 million? Well, this guy needed $1 million because that's how much, that was the check that the insurance company had to pay to those folks that he hurt.
And did he have $1 million coverage?
He had $1 million in coverage.
Oh, thank God.
Yeah, yes, because if he didn't, his business will probably not be open anymore.
Okay. One more story. Something.
One more story is, I guess, Harvey brought about a lot of interesting claims with people being out of their homes for weeks. And people don't think about businesses, even if you don't own the business, if you're a tenant, you can get flood insurance. And a lot of those tenants did not have flood insurance. They thought it was covered under their regular tenant policy. And if you're a business owner, please get flood insurance, whether you own the building or not.
So, sounds like you know a lot about commercial insurance. And if you have any more questions, be sure to reach out to me and we can get those questions answered for you. But if they want to get a hold of you, can you give them your information?
Absolutely. Yeah, I am on all the social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all of it. Angel Henderson is my agent. Angel Henderson is my agent. You can call me at 832-300-1400. 832-300-1400, and someone always answers the phone 24/7.
Thank you so much for coming today, Angel. And if y'all have any questions, please feel free to reach out to Angel and ask her. She has someone to answer the phones at all times. We'll be right back after this commercial break.